there's stuff you can take credit for in terms of what the company's done, which at the moment is not a whole bunch of, not a whole hill of beans, I think they say in North America. The market has done a lot of the work for you in terms of silver price. So, I think that's fair. That's a fair point to say. So when do you think some of the stuff that you're going to do is going to start taking effect? Do you think when the drill bit comes in and you do these 13, 14 holes and you do a deeper drill hole into the targets that you're aiming for, is that when you get recognized for the work that you've done to date? Or do you need the silver price to keep moving and to work on your behalf?
Yeah, I guess I disagree with you a little bit. Over the last 6 or 8 months, for a company of our size and with the amount of money that we've spent, which we have not spent a ton of money on these tasks, on these initiatives that we've done. Company of our size very rarely does a 1,000-ton bulk sample. We accomplished that. A company of our size very rarely tries to re-enter a 230-meter, 110-year-old shaft and begin to reestablish that as new and different access to this mine. So I think we have done a lot. I think that the market. I think that we've done a reasonably good job of communicating our story to the marketplace. That has to get better. Vangold, I think, is still a relatively unknown thing and commodity, and the story has to be a little bit better and more widely spread. That takes time. That's more of a process than something that you just flip the light switch on.
You get my point, James. It's like, I agree with you. I looked at your G&A. You guys don't pay yourself that much. You don't spend that much. And you've done a few things, quite cheaply, very frugally. Brilliant. But therein also lies the problem. You haven't spent much. Therefore, could you have done more in this time frame? It's a very exciting gold and silver environment. So should you have pushed the bat out and done more?
Okay, I see where the question's going. Fantastic. So there are people who and I think I've said this earlier. There are people who say, "Well, James, we'll stop messing around. Let's go drill some drill holes." I can tell you, and this comes from 30 years experience in this industry. There is nothing more expensive than one of these junior explorers what they do than to drill a hole in the ground that has no gold and silver in it. So are we doing everything necessary in terms of all of the geological interpretation, in terms of the wireframe building before we start drilling? Yes, we are. Are we ready now to drill those drill holes? From underground, we are. From surface, I would say that we still need a little bit more work and a little bit more refining to do, and we've given ourselves that time to be able to do it. So I think in terms of sequencing, if you would have asked me, well, hey, let's get an underground drill rig in here and start drilling. If you would have asked me 6 months ago, I would have said, well, theoretically that's good, but I don't think we know exactly where we want to be drilling here. Now we do, and I'm very comfortable saying that we've got a very, very good chance of success drilling these holes from underground, and we're going to try and put ourselves into the same level of knowledge and readiness for when we start drilling in the new year.
Okay, so you're an ex-capital markets guy, right? You've moved over to the dark side. You know what the market's thinking.
It doesn't seem so dark over here.
It's quite dark. It's very grey walls. It's the grey walls. You know what the market's thinking, right? So you've got one drill rig coming. You own it, and it's like practically a third of the cost of bringing in drill rig operators. So that's good news. But it's one. If you know what you've got underground, or you think you know what you've got underground, why isn't that two? Why isn't it three? Why don't you make hay while the sun's shining in this positive gold, silver environment?
Well, to buy 3 drill rigs, let's say, I think it would be too large a capital expenditure for the amount of money that we've got. We have hired a mechanic to be able to handle anything that breaks down. If all of a sudden we need, if we've got a fleet of drills and a fleet of mechanics and 18 drillers, I think that's not what this project is right now, and I'd rather go slow. I'd rather see 4, 5, 6 drill holes and go, okay, yeah, we're spot on. We know exactly what we're doing. Or conversely, right? You go, well, okay, maybe that didn't work quite the way that we want to. At least then we'll have the capital to be able to adjust and move the project forward.